Hey, folks. Welcome. This is the American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Yes, it's one of those days. Woke up this morning and it was like, holy crap, it's the 21st of September, 2017. And it is, when I laugh because I'm happy. Okay. I laugh because I'm joyful. I laugh because I am here. The question I have this morning or this evening or this afternoon or whenever you're hearing this, the question I have is, you're out and about. You're just, hanging out with life. You're at the mall, you're at the grocery store, you're, whatever. You're just cruising. You're, whatever, right? You're walking around. You're walking through a park. Whatever. It doesn't matter. You're out there and you see people who are, engaging in life in the way they do. And then you see something that's not quite right, and you feel you can help remedy the situation. My question is this. Would you go, if somebody was in distress or in trouble or whatever, would you go and do that? Would you go and help? Would you go and remedy the situation? Would you go and save them in some way, shape, or form, right? Would you? Now, of course, firemen and police officers are the ones that go into the, situation and try to remedy it. There we go. And some people just stand outside going, "Ooh, that looks cool." What's happening over there? They don't, they're bystanders. But would you go and help and save or remedy a situation that seemed to be negative and help somebody out? Would you do that? Okay, let's move that into a grander scale, shall we? Let's move this into a grander scale. Let's say you're out and about. You're cruising around, you're walking around a mall, you're doing, whatever, you're out and about. You're engaging in life. You're taking it easy. You say you just got off from work and you decided, I'm going to go to the mall and I'm just going to go walk around, maybe, buy a couple of things. I don't know. You're out and about. All of a sudden, you hear people screaming, you hear people running into the mall, saying something is happening. You hear people screaming and hollering and somebody's got to help, and all this, right? You hear all this chaos going on. You're hearing all this going on, and people are yelling and screaming. And you're hearing all this, and you realize when you go and find the source of the problem that you've got a conflagration going on outside of that mall where now you see something that you would never, ever thought that you would ever see. You see foreign military near the mall. Foreign military, not our military. Somebody else's in another country over here. At the mall you're in. They're locking the doors, they're doing everything, and they're outside, and some are inside, but you've got hundreds and hundreds of people in the mall. You're one of them. What would you do? What would you do? You see, on a much grander scale than that, We have a situation going on in this country, in the United States of America, which requires the assistance of we the people. And whatever it is we have to do, we will do. There is no question. There is no question. There is no doubt. There is no cowardice in us. Oh, some will be scared as hell and not be able to move and say, well, and they'll just be in the corner, but these people don't know how to instinctually go to the base of your existence and defend yourself. Because no one has been taught to do that. No one has been taught to understand their instinctual nature to survive. We have people we have educators, I put that in air quotes, showing the ramifications of what would happen if you stuck up for yourself, if you defended yourself. And this is true currently in our governmental indoctrination institutes. These quote-unquote educators are not educators. They're minions and tools of the controllers of Washington, D.C., and they are the indoctrinators within our halls of governmental indoctrination institutes. Going back to the personal scenario of if you saw something happening to someone else and you knew that you could help remedy the situation, would you? It's a good question, isn't it? Because right now in Puerto Rico, Hurricane Maria took out the whole island of Puerto Rico. There is no power. There is nothing there. Oh yeah, it'll be probably a few days or a few weeks before they get, basic power on, but the whole island is gone. The whole island, power-wise, is gone. I mean, it's just people are there's no lights. There's no power. Okay. So, the solution to that is what? If you know of private individuals in your city and towns, if you know corporations that are not related to anything of the government in any way, shape, or form, and they have the financial resources to do so, I would suggest that you go and talk to them and help them get to Puerto Rico to help out other humans that are in distress. Now, how do we individually wrap our minds around what just happened in Puerto Rico? I set up a few examples, a few scenarios, and I asked you a few questions. But how do we, personally, individually, how can we wrap our minds around the tragedy of what happened in hurricanes that we've had? Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Irma, you got Maria that just wiped out Puerto Rico. How can we wrap our minds around what just happened? Plus, speaking of natural disasters, I don't think it was so natural as it was artificial, but we'll get into that later. That's a whole different podcast. We look at the natural disasters, and we look at what just happened in California, 3.1 earthquake near Los Angeles. And on the same day, the next morning, if it were, a 7.1 in Mexico City, another earthquake in Indonesia, another earthquake near Japan, 100 and so miles off the shore near, where Fukushima is. my question to you is, at this very moment, the 21st of September 2017, what would you do? What would you do? Christians and analyzers of prophecy and all of that are saying in a couple of days the world's going to end. Well, I'm going to say this. You cry wolf too many times, people aren't going to believe you. Okay, that's an example that I have. Now, you go back to 2012, December 21st, 2012. Oh, the Aztecs talked about the world ending. Let me shine some light on the reality of this. World's not going to end in a couple of days, folks. I'm sorry. It's just not going to end. I'm not sorry. I feel sorry for people who believe that because they're, somewhat delusional, I would believe, but I could be wrong because I could have overlooked something. I don't know. Is the world going to end in a couple of days? No. We're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. How do you know? Well, it's not like I got a crystal ball in front of me, but I look at the trends over the last 3,000 years. I look at the prognostications over the last 2,000 years. I look at everything, and I can tell you that even in the late 800s, the ninth century, is that what it was? They had prognosticators saying, well, the world's going to end in, whatever. And let me give you a prime example of the falsehoods of religion. Various religions on the planet have predicted that the world was going to end at some point by some catastrophe. And folks, look around. We're still here. But when you look at the very nature of these prognostications and when you look at the information that is provided to these people throughout the years, you will see one very glaring thing. It's not the end of the world per se. It's the end of the age. It's the end of the, that group, if you will, of humanity. There have been 3, count them if you go back and look, 3 highly technological groups of people on this planet. 3. There have been 4 catastrophes on this planet that have wiped out these previous civilizations on this planet. We are now, if you look at the theology behind it, we are now in the stage 5. We had all the precursors coming up to a certain point, then we have certain things happening, then, that kind of rolls over into what we have now, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Who knows what's going to happen in 2 days? I don't know. What's going to happen Saturday? I have no clue. But when you look at things, when you examine every bit of what has been said by these so-called prophets and prognosticators, you will see that there is a flaw. And that main flaw is nobody knew. They just mathematically and societally and grouped all these things together and said, oh, look, this is going to happen. And here it is, 2017, and the earth has been around for how many, millions of years? Humanity has been around about 50 to 60,000 years. So, I mean, you've got theorists, ufologists, theorists as well, along with that group, that are saying that we were planted here. The DNA of who we are today was planted upon this planet. If you saw the movie Prometheus, yeah. That kind of gives you an idea of what they're talking about. I don't believe in creation per se, as far as theologically speaking, no. Do I believe we were planted here by aliens from another planet? No. I don't. But how do I know we weren't? How do I know that we weren't planted here? No one knows the right answer. No one knows the wrong answer. No one has any answer at all, except for what they can speculate and bring up out of, certain beliefs that they have, certain, ideologies that they stand by, So no one really knows. So here we are at the brink, I wouldn't say the brink. That's the wrong word to use because that's not the word. We are at the cusp of a societal breakdown which involves the current technology we have. The current technology we have. Think about that for a moment, folks. This is what we see. Look at your cell phone. Guess what that is? That's a freaking computer right there. Okay. Your computer on your desktop or your phone is your computer, your portable computer. Look at that for a minute. Where did that technology come from, folks? Wasn't some smart guy sitting in a room somewhere figuring out, no. Guess what? It was people putting their heads together, coming up with a lot of stuff. From what? A lot of ideas came out of World War I, World War II. But you look at the growth of our technology. Here it is, 2017. Go back to 1917. A year before World War I ended. What kind of technology did we have back then? Huh? What kind of technology did we have? Go look it up. Go through a timeline of 1917 to 1927, 37, 47, 57, 67, 77, 87, 97, 2007, and today. Look at the exponential growth of our technology. And look at the rapid growth of our technology after World War II. Now you can go from 1945, that's when World War II ended, and you can go back to 1845 and look at the technology. Just examine the whole timeline of our technology. Folks, I'm going to ask you the question again. If you are just out and about and you see something wrong and you see something that you possibly could remedy and you see somebody in trouble, would you not help them? Folks, we're in a situation now where the technology that we have is now encompassing our lives to where we are in some way, shape, or form being dumbed down in exponential ways due to the technology. Now, what are you going to do? What are we going to do? Go back to What are we going to do? Go back to muskets and spears and swords when we fight? No. But and here's my whole point of all this 20-minute opening, is the fact that we have the opportunity to grow beyond this. We take the technology that we have that others have used for nefarious and negative purposes. We, the people, take the technology and use it for good, and use it for what it was meant to be used for, which was for the sake and the safety and the sanctity, I would even say, of the people. We need to take that and focus that into helping people remedy their situations. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people would say, well, you can't do that. The technology is out there for everybody, no matter what. And we can't judge or compel someone to use the technology for any other reason other than what they believe they should be using it for. Well, that's true. But when you go back in time, when you look back in history, the same thing was argued thousands of years ago. Same thing was argued thousands of years ago. And I think, I'll go to break here in a little bit. I think the United States of America and its ingenuity with the resources that we had at the time, 400 or 500 years ago, really has put us on a course of not only self-realization as a group of people, but also, self-destruction if we're not careful. You see what I'm saying? So there's that whole situation that you have to understand, that you're at the pinnacle, you're at the point, you're at I'm just going to say it, you're at the centerpiece of looking at everything and saying, wait a minute, there's a problem here. What can I do to remedy the situation? What can I do to remedy the situation? There is that to consider. Remember, I used the example of the mall and everybody got closed in by a foreign government military and all that. What are you going to do? You got the technology in the room, in the building. What are you going to do to remedy the situation? 3 things are cut off. The 3 things that I'm thinking of are the 3 things that would be cut off if someone came in to take over your town. 1, communication. 2, transportation. And 3, anything that is in your area that could help you defend yourself. That's not necessarily in order, but they're trying to get rid of the First Amendment so we can't speak out. They're trying to get rid of the Second Amendment so we can't defend ourselves. They're trying to get rid of the Fifth Amendment, which they want us to self-incriminate, and therefore they have something to use against us. Do you see where all this is going? Do you just look, not what I'm saying, but look out from your perspective. Do you see where all this is going? You have a problem, folks, and you have to remedy the problem. Or I should say, you have a remedy to the problem. You have the solution to the problem. You know what you have to do. And why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you taking those moments and saying, wait a minute, I've got to do this. My family is important, and I've got to protect them, and I've got to do this, and I got to do that. What if you're at work and your family's at home, or maybe even out and about, and you get word that the mall just got shut down by a foreign military? You're at work. What are you going to do to go protect your family? That's another scenario to think about. So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, you can mash all these scenarios together and come up with your own and try to find solutions and speculate as to what can and shouldn't and would be done and all. You can do it yourself, folks, but the bottom line is, and the question is, what are you going to do to solve the situation? What remedies, what solutions, what are you going to do? I mean, as simple as that. You look around at other countries who are so deep in this tyranny from their governments and from their religions that these people can't breathe without getting permission from the higher ups. But you see that there are rebels out there within these little groups, and they're trying to, save their own lives. They're trying to solve the situation. And they're doing the best they can. But see, we have a much bigger problem. We have a much bigger problem. And let me tell you what that problem is. That problem is apathy. Go look the word up, dictionary.com. That problem is apathy. Nobody cares. Or at least, I label a lot of people in that fashion, but there are a majority of the people that care are trying to encourage those who are apathetic to come forward and take the reins and do what they have to do to protect themselves. But we are dealing with people who are apathetic. I mean, that's just the way it is. I don't know what is there, folks? What is there? I mean, seriously. What I mean, I don't understand it, folks. I really don't. It's one of those things, I guess. Do you want to stay apathetic, or do you want to get engaged in life and protect yourself and your family and your friends and all of that? Huh? Interesting, to say the least, isn't it? What are you going to do to solve the situation? I'll be back right after this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the mainstream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Growing up terrestrial radio, the future is here. Destroying the liberal media one truth bomb at a time. Independent media is shattering the liberal national security media into a million pieces. Their views of the world are based on the script the government gives them. Independent media seeks out and finds the truth and reports on what is truly going on behind the scenes. Support the truth and facts. Support independent media. Absolutely, positively don't want to hear any more bull. Listen to American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Hey folks, welcome back. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. This is the 21st of September, 2017. Oh, yeah. You know, oh my God. What can I say? Yeah. Let me share with you this. Steve Watson, Infowars.com, 21st of September 2017. There's a video. MSNBC worries Trump's use of the word sovereign is a dog whistle. Quote, it was just over the top, unquote. The king of fake news, Brian Williams of MSNBC, worried out loud Wednesday that President Trump's use of the word sovereign during his UN speech was some sort of signal to the international community that the U.S. is abandoning international cooperation. Quote, back to this use of this word sovereign and sovereignty, Williams stated, talking to McClatchy White House correspondent Anita Kumar, who was on a panel of leftists tasked with picking apart and negging the Trump's speech. Quote, did you hear a buzzword or a dog whistle in his repeated use of that word, unquote, Williams asked. Well, Kumar responded with, quote, we knew he was going to talk a little bit about that. We were sort of expecting this theme, but it was just way more, it was just over the top, unquote. Yeah, folks. It has to be over the top. It has to be in your face. You can't change someone's mind. You can't just throw them on the ground and say, here, you got to believe this. No, you can't. But when they continually contend with your, with your analysis and you understand what is right and wrong and what is going on and what's bad and what's good and all that, but they contend with you that you're full of crap, you have to put the truth in their face. But there it is. Push it. There it is, right up in your face. Brian Williams, is a complete fake news journalist. I say fake news, in quotes, because he does not know anything about truth. I don't give a crap if you send that off to him. I don't care. He doesn't know anything about truth or facts. Okay? He's been indoctrinated for so long that he believes everything that his bosses tell him. Excuse me. That's on American Liberty Radio Podcast. Now, let me say this. Media Matters, which is funded by George Soros, accused Matt Drudge of promoting Russia propaganda, so he linked directly to Kremlin media, independent media outlet accused of being Putin mouthpiece. This has happened before, and Matt Drudge came out and proved everybody wrong. When you're in the independent proprietor of the most influential media website in the world, you get to set your own rules. So when leftist George Soros-funded right-wing watchdog Media Matters accused Drudge Report founder Matt Drudge of colluding with the Russian government to promote Kremlin propaganda, he responded by doing exactly that. On Wednesday, Drudge linked to a story from Media Matters whining about how Matt Drudge became the pipeline for Russian propaganda. This is Media Matters saying how Matt Drudge became the pipeline for Russian Media Matters. Drudge Report has linked nearly 400 times to RT, Sputnik News, TASS since 2012. Quote, well, anyway, let me go on. According to Media Matters, Drudge has become entangled in Russia's allegedly massive effort to peddle anti-democratic propaganda in the U.S. Drudge, additionally, according to Media Matters, has, quote, an affinity for Russian President Vladimir Putin and his media outlets, unquote, which fits into the Kremlin's world domination plans perfectly. Media Matters reveals they obsessively created a program by which to count each instance in which Drudge had linked to a news story from a state-owned Russian media outlet, never mind the content of the story. The report also goes on to claim that InfoWars is a, quote, favorite of the Russian government, unquote, because the high-level Russian guest Alex Jones has on his radio show. Media Matters' central thesis is that Drudge's vast influence on the media landscape and his 400 links to Russian media in the past 6 years somehow facilitated Donald Trump's rise to power and Hillary's devastated second presidential defeat. So what was Matt Drudge's response to the outlandish claims? He aggregated links directly to Interfax, ITAR Task, and Pravda, 3 major Russian news agencies, as a big middle finger to Media Matters. Because when you're independent proprietor of the most influential media website in the world, you get to set your own rules. There's a video there as well in this article. So I'm going to put this up on American Liberty Radio podcast. So basically, he's just thumbing his finger at these people. Excuse me. Yeah, that little phlegmy crap going on there again. Yeah, folks, let me just point something out to you. Media Matters is funded by George Soros, who is a far-left liberal, or I wouldn't even say liberal. He's a far-left Marxist who wants to destroy America. And he's doing it by indoctrinating people with this false narrative of U.S.-Russia, Trump-Russia collusion in getting Trump elected president. It's bullcrap. Everyone knows it, and the information is out there to prove that there was no collusion between the Trump campaign and him winning, and Russia and him winning the presidency. Period. End of sentence. So you naysayers can just go shove your head in the damn sand because I'm tired of you. Okay? Just I'm there, man. You know, I'm at that point where you either look at the enemy in their eyes and you know their heart and you defeat them, or you run like hell in the other direction and be the coward that everybody thought you were. Me? I like that front line. Go ahead, cross that line. Give me something. You know, just come on, man. You know? In 1982, in October of 1982, I took an oath, and that oath never expires. The only time it does is when I'm buried in the grave. To defend my nation and the Constitution of the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic. Period. There you go. Let's move on to something else, shall we? Daily Caller is reporting on the 21st of September 2017, like a slave, that's in quotes, 3 Muslim women, at least one of them bloodied, called the police on Imran Awan Officers found one of the women bloodied, and she told them, quote, just wanted to leave, unquote, while the second said she felt like a slave. Multiple women in relationships with Imran Awan, the indicted former IT aide for Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, have recently called Virginia law enforcement and alleged being abused by him. Police reports obtained under Virginia's Freedom of Information Act show. Officers found one of the women bloodied, and she told them she just wanted to leave, while the second said she felt like a slave, according to the Fairfax County Police reports obtained by the Daily Caller News Foundation investigative group. A third woman claimed she was being kept in captivity. It says read more, so I'm going to put that up there. This relates to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's a left-wing politician. Okay, I mean, she's so far left-wing, I think her bird is disabled. Okay, I'm just saying. Let's go over here then and talk about this a little bit. A report is out. Breitbart is reporting on the 21st of September 2017. Robert Mueller requests documents from the White House for Russian probe. Mueller's office sent a document to the White House detailing 13 different areas investigators want more information about, according to the report. Special counsel Robert Mueller has in recent weeks asked the White House for documents as part of his investigation into Russian meddling and any possible collusion with the Trump campaign, according to the New York Times. Mueller's office sent a document to the White House detailing 13 different areas investigators want more information about, according to the report. The Times asserted that the document requests show that several aspects of his probe, quote, are focused squarely on Mr. Trump's behavior, unquote. Mueller's document request does not indicate any examination of Trump's personal finances or business dealings, the report said. Now, you know, there's a video there, and I'm just going to share the video. I'm going to share the whole article because it says read more. So, but there's a video in it, so check it out. It has Roger Stone in it, former Trump advisor, campaign advisor. But anyway. Yeah, there it is. Robert Mueller is looking for how crazy, how nuts, how, 5150 President Trump is, and that he's trying to get him impeached or taken out in some way, shape, or form because of his mental state. Okay, you see, there's a coup, there's a coup going on in Washington, D.C. within the Republican and Democratic parties. Why? Because they're not getting their fair share of the loot from the American people. What do I mean by that? Well, it's real simple. The Progressive Party, made up of Democratic Socialists and Republican Fascists, want not only a piece of the pie, they want the whole damn pie, and they want to leave you to crumbs. That's it right there. That's what they're doing. They're trying to collapse everything. They're trying to take, let's just say, they're taking the foundation that we live by, collapsing it, and then taking everything we have, looting us, and giving it to themselves and their buddies, and we're left with squat. Okay? That's basically what they want to do. Now, I know some people might say, well, that's not, that's just a conspiracy theory. Right? Ooh, Samantha Powers is back in the news today. Fox News is reporting on the 21st of September 2017. Samantha Power sought to unmask Americans on almost daily basis, sources say. Sources, not just one, but more. Requests to identify Americans whose names surfaced in foreign intelligence reporting, known as unmasking, exceeded 260 last year. Samantha Power, the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, was, quote-unquote, unmasking at such a rapid pace in the final months of the Obama administration that she averaged more than one request per every working day in 2016. The and even sought information in the days leading up to President Trump's inauguration, multiple sources close to the matter told Fox News. Two sources who were not authorized to speak on the record said the request to identify Americans whose names surfaced in foreign intelligence reporting, known as unmasking, exceeded 260 last year. One source indicated this occurred in the final days of the Obama White House. The details emerged ahead of an expected appearance by Power next month on Capitol Hill. She is one of several Obama administration officials facing congressional scrutiny for their role in seeking the identities of Trump associates in intelligence reports, but the interest in her actions is particularly high. In a July 27th letter to Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats, House Intelligence Committee Chairman David Nunes, Republican of California, said the committee had learned, quote, that one official whose position had no apparent intelligence-related function made hundreds of unmasking requests during the final year of the Obama administration, unquote. It says read more. So you guys need to check that out as well. Do you see the corruption involved here? Do you see how massively corrupt the Obama administration was? And there's holdovers in the current Trump administration which need to be fired and sent back to, well, hopefully they go to prison, but they need to get fired. Okay? So, do you see the corruption in all of this? Do you understand what is going on? Do you see how corrupt the whole system is? Now, President Trump is up in the Oval Office. He's talking to his advisors, his attorneys. He's talking to personal people that he knows outside of the administration. And he's trying to, for lack of a better phrase, plug the holes in the dam so he can drain a damn swamp. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to plug the holes of everybody, getting this out, whatever. I'm not talking leaks. These are not leaks. The intentional things, it's intentional that this information gets to InfoWars or Michael Savage or Rush Limbaugh or whatever. It's intentional. They're not leaks. It's intentional. This is what's happening behind the curtains. And former, administration officials and all that, and whistleblowers are coming out and saying what's happening behind the curtain. This is it's not leaks, it's intentional. Here it is. Boom, there's the information. So that's what they're doing. Donald Trump is not trying to plug those holes. But now that those holes are just massive and all this information is coming out about the previous administration, he's trying to gather all the resources he can to find those people in the former, the prior administration and the former, Obama officials. And he's trying to legally put together, from what my perspective is, legally put together the means to arrest these people, to throw their asses in prison where they need to be, to charge them with treason, because that's what they did. Crimes against the Constitution, against the people, and against the United States are treasonous crimes that require prison time. And the first on that list, I think, would be Hillary Clinton, but nobody's going to go after her. Why? How many people in the last 6 months to a year have mysteriously died because they were investigating Hillary Clinton? First of all, I'd find those people that are doing that, shut them down, go after Clinton. But that's me. But anyway, President Trump wants to plug the holes in the dam to drain the swamp. Now, I'm just going to speculate here and ask this question under this speculation. Is he going to get reelected in 2020? I have a pretty good, on a scale from 0 to 100%, I would say there's a 65% chance that he'll be reelected. Hold me to that, 21st of September, 2017. So, yeah. I think there are certain things that people need to really pay attention to, not just the surface stuff either. Not just, President Trump went to the UN and talked with the UN and told them that we're going to annihilate North Korea. No, that's just part of it. That's a part of it. Okay. That is just a tiny bit of it. There's more to look at, seriously. Robert Mueller is going after President Trump because he thinks that President Trump is crazy, nuts, wacko. He needs to be in a straitjacket. This is why Robert Mueller is going after him. Robert Mueller happens to be, a supporter of Obama. So this is what's happening, folks. This is what's going on. We've got this whole situation in Washington, D.C., this cesspool of, just crap is what it is. I thought Hollywood was a cesspool of crap, but Washington, D.C. takes the top spot in that one. But we got this whole system that is corrupt, that is falling apart, that is imploding upon itself. Donald Trump, President Trump, is trying to, build a better foundation so the collapse won't be be so bad. Is it going to collapse? Oh, eventually it will, but hopefully not as bad as people might imagine or might speculate. So this is what he's trying to do. Wouldn't you? If your budgets around the house were failing and you were spending money and trying to, recoup and do, wouldn't you? Start looking at things and say, wait a minute, hold on. We don't need that. We don't need this. We don't need that. Well, in Washington, D.C., I think he's doing that. From my perspective, anyway. He may not be, but from my perspective, I see him looking at different departments going, do we really need that? That person over there has conducted some very nefarious activities, was engaged in these things, and now we have to look at him and let's take a look at, this over. So he's, folks, he hasn't been in office for a year and he's already, from day one, people wanted to impeach him. Why? And I'll tell you why. It's real simple. The Democratic Socialists and the Republican Fascists, the Progressive Party, that's who they are, and others related to them are not getting their fair share of the loot that is being stolen from the American people. That would be taxes and other things. That's basically, they're not getting their stuff for free. They're not, their constituents are not getting their stuff for free. Their constituents are bitching that President Trump is shutting down different, avenues of support and all this, that, and the other thing because they're not getting their stuff for free. Well, what the hell? We're not a socialist country. Go look at Venezuela right now is completely collapsed because of socialism. Hello? Oh, they didn't do it right. There is no right way of committing or engaging in a socialistic government. It's a failure from the beginning. And people don't understand that. They don't get this. They don't understand that. I'll tell you what. Go look at the Constitution, and yes, you might say, what? Go look at the Constitution of Russia in Moscow. Go look at it. Go examine that right there. Some people say, well, living in Russia is a lot better because they have, they do give people their rights and their individual rights and all of that, and that's fine. Just don't, step over the bounds and boundaries and, start bashing other people in government. This is, does that sound familiar? Our way of conducting our processes within this government in Washington, D.C. comes straight out of the Roman Empire, comes straight out of the Roman Senate and the House, comes straight out of the British Commonwealth in the UK, comes straight out of that. It was mishmashed, put together with some other things here in the U.S. as well that people found that worked, and we put together a Constitution and a Bill of Rights of the United States of America. The Declaration of Independence the idea came from a few things, including the Magna Carta. Now, hello, This is what happened. This is history, folks. Go look it up. You know? So the president's trying to get everybody in line. He's trying to strengthen the foundation of the United States of America to make America great again. And he's going to drain the swamp, but when? How would you, now, remember I talked about the scenario of the mall being closed off by foreign government? Okay, what do you do in that scenario? Okay, here's this. If at some point a mass amount of congressmen and women were arrested immediately, like the military or the, judge advocate general or the military or whatever came in, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the head of them, came in to Congress on C-SPAN, because there's a camera in there, and arrested half of those people and walked them out of the building, what would you do? What would you do? I'd applaud, but, that's how you drain the swamp. You don't sit there going, well, I need to talk to, let's see if this is, there's legalities involved, of course, that you have to really, you got to look at these things, right? But that's how you drain the swamp. You take the people in power that are legally able to walk into Congress and say, you and about 100 of you are going to jail because, it's crimes against humanity and against the United States of America. You're gone. You're arrested right now. Follow us. That's how you do that. That's how you do that. You don't mess around. You just go in and do. And that talked about the scenario of the mall. It's closed up. You got foreign military outside. You just do. You just go and do it. You don't sit there and go, well, do we have the legal and we got to talk to this committee and put this committee together to see if we can get an approval to get this committee together. No. You're talking about a coup there. No, I'm not. I'm talking about identifying the criminals in Washington, D.C. and Congress and going and arresting their ass and charging them with treason. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a coup. A coup would be having the military walk in and take over the presidency, and we don't want that. That's not a good thing either, okay? Other countries have done that, and you've seen how they failed, okay? And all of that. So... But yeah, there's legalities involved in all of that. Of course, you just can't, But, you have to identify these criminals in Washington, D.C. and have them arrested. Period. End of sentence. I don't care who they are. If I was president, that's the first thing I'd be doing is, do we have the legal right to find out who these, do we have the legal processes behind us to find out who these criminal and nefarious characters are in Congress and have them arrested? Okay, that's what I would do. Get those people out of here. We don't need them. And that's what I'm saying. But anyway, wow. I just looked at the time. Holy crap. Man, an hour goes by fast, doesn't it? Man, oh man, oh man. Anywho, folks. There's always going to be a point at which you're going to have to realize what the problem is. You're going to have to identify the source of that problem, and you're going to have to take it out. Just remedy the situation. That's what I'm talking about, okay? You have to do this, even in your own family or your work or your business where you work or whatever. You're going to have to identify the problem and engage in a solution. That's what I'm saying. So, I'm going to go away now, folks. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com, American Liberty Radio at USA.com. Sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS.